want to take some time and talk about how to stop being lazy. And if you don't know who I am, my name is Micaiah Bell. I'm a Harvard graduate, an Oxford graduate, a former athlete at both institutions. And I've had quite a journey learning about social science, and that's the thing that I'm the most passionate about. And that's what we talk the most about on this channel. And today, I want to spend some time talking about laziness, as I've stated, because it's the one thing that kills the potential of so many people. And I find that it's one of the emotions or states of being that pervades people's lives without any accountability. And most people don't even notice that they're being lazy, or they don't notice the effects of being lazy. But before we get into that and how to actually overcome it, let's start with what laziness actually is and why it's so substantial. And to understand laziness, you have to take a moment to understand the psychology behind it. Obviously, I think it's pretty easy to define laziness as the lack of ability to do the things that you're supposed to do. It's the choice to choose comfort over uncomfortability in a situation in which comfort would breed the actual growth that you need to succeed, so forth and so on. I think we're pretty clear on what laziness actually is. But the reason why people are actually lazy is a bit more interesting. It goes a bit deeper. The true reason for laziness in people's lives is because they can be. It's because it carries no consequence. It's because every day you can wake up, be lazy, and not have to suffer the repercussions of it. You won't die. You won't see the death of the things that you were trying to achieve. And by the time you see it, it's most of the time for most people, it's too late to do anything about it. And the problem is that people are unable to make the link between the two. So to understand laziness and why it's so substantial, you have to understand a principle in psychology known as causal attribution. And that's a pretty simple principle. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's the ability to link a cause to an outcome. And most people are unable to link their laziness to the outcome of the lives that they're currently living. And that's because causal attribution is much easier when the cause and the outcome are immediate or within a certain time frame in which you can easily state that one caused the other. However, laziness, it happens over such a period of time. Oftentimes it's months, years, decades, in which people realize that they didn't achieve a certain thing. And so it's very difficult for the brain to make that link between the two, because all of the immediate feedback is stating that laziness is okay. It's stating that, oh, well, you know what? You didn't really suffer. You didn't lose money immediately. You didn't lose opportunity immediately. You didn't gain weight immediately. All these things happen over a period of time in which you felt okay. You didn't suffer any consequences through it. So because of that, people feel like it's okay to be lazy. They don't feel as bad about it. They don't feel shame about it. They don't feel a personal conviction to do anything about it. And that's why laziness persists so much. And we live in a society of quick and rapid fixes. People are able to get everything that they want very quickly, very easily, without doing a lot of work. And when I say that, I'm talking about basic necessities. I'm talking about food, water, talking about basically those things that you can gain access to very easily via Amazon, via delivery, via all these different things that have made our lives so convenient that on the basic humanistic biological sense of things, we can receive this gratification without a majority of the work. And the work that we link to it is very difficult for the brain to actually link the two. We work for money, we use the money to spend on things. However, it's a lot more difficult for the brain to make that link through so many third parties than it is if you had to get up, go hunt, and get food. That's a very direct link. Hunt, food, done. So because of our society, we have made it very easy to be lazy. And that's one of the reasons why so many people are actually lazy. So now that you understand why people are actually lazy, well, how do you actually break that cycle of laziness? And that's one of the things where it's difficult, especially in the beginning, to do so, because it's very hard to reward yourself for not being lazy. You see, the way the brain works is it interprets comfortability as safety. And once you feel safe, the brain biologically has learned over thousands and thousands of years of human existence that safety is where you should stay in order for survival. You shouldn't do unsafe things consistently because you will die. That's what the brain has learned and taught itself over these vast periods of learning in human culture. However, when you feel uncomfortable, your brain interprets that as danger. So your brain is actually wired to keep you lazy. That's the funniest part about the whole thing. So in a lot of ways, you can't even blame people for being lazy because that's just how their brain comes naturally hardwired and set. It's the learning element that actually makes the difference. We have to learn to not be lazy. And the way that you learn to not be lazy is you undo all of that biological wiring that your brain comes pre-programmed with. And you essentially have to teach yourself that uncomfortability breeds growth within you. And we're straying away from the biological argument here because I wouldn't hop on here and tell you that you need to go do actual dangerous things consistently because you might actually get killed. So that's not necessarily the point. When I say uncomfortability, I mean doing the things that you don't want to do that you know are going to lead to a better result. Waking up earlier, going to work out, eating cleaner, spending more time being disciplined on the things that you're trying to build, building those hobbies and crafts, learning something new, becoming a better version of yourself, picking up information. All of these things are uncomfortable and take time to build. But you have to train your brain to seek out that uncomfortability in order for your brain to recognize that uncomfortability is actually the key towards success. Most people think that the key to success is to just work hard or be consistent and be disciplined, but that's not necessarily the key to success. The key to success is to be okay with doing uncomfortable things that will lead to the desired outcome. It's no point in doing uncomfortable things that don't lead towards the outcome that you actually want. The only things that are worth doing are the things that lead to the outcomes that you want. If you want to get in shape, it's no point in doing uncomfortable things that aren't going to get you in shape. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. If you want to get really big muscles, it's no point in going to run for 15 miles per day. That's very uncomfortable, very difficult, but that doesn't really build muscle. So you have to do the uncomfortable things in the actual gym, lifting the weights that would make your muscles bigger. If you want to get better at running, vice versa, it's not really that conducive to spend a ton of time in the gym lifting heavy weights when the thing that you should actually be placing the more amount of weight on is going out to run. And that's the difference between becoming successful or not. And one of the things I learned when I was younger is that the best way to start overcoming laziness is to be consistent in doing at least one thing. And that could be waking up at 5 in the morning every morning. And it's not so much the fact that waking up at 5 is going to automatically make you less lazy or automatically going to make you more successful. It's the fact that you're training your brain to do things consistently and not take the easy way out when you could. Now, the thing about laziness is that it doesn't apply to anything that you have to do. It only applies to things that you want to do. It's near impossible to be lazy when you have to do something. If you have to wake up at 5 a.m. to go to work, it's near impossible to not wake up at 5 a.m. because you know for a fact that if you don't show up to work on time, you're going to get fired. So there's consequences for it. Laziness only really seeps into the picture when it's something that you could do or something that you want to do or something that you have the option of not doing that wouldn't have any consequences or immediate repercussions. So for me, I don't have to wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. is when I normally wake up. I don't have to wake up at 6 a.m. The only reason why I choose to do it is because I'm training my brain consistently to do the things that I know I should do in order to receive the desired outcome. And the reason why that's important is because your brain consistently learns things. It has to consistently learn things, and it has to be consistently trained. It's kind of like muscle memory. Yeah, once you train muscle memory, you'll have it. But over a period of time, if you stop doing it, you're going to be pretty bad at doing it. It's funny how people say riding a bike, you never forget how to learn, or you never forget how to ride a bike. And I've always thought that was kind of funny because I didn't ride bikes for several years. I learned when I was a child and didn't ride bikes for several years. And eventually when I did go to ride a bike when I was an adult, it was actually pretty hard. Like my balance wasn't very good. I did still know how to do it, but I had to almost, in a sense, relearn those things because I was very rusty at it. And it's the same way with becoming very disciplined and overcoming laziness. If you overcome it for a season of time, yet you don't continue to practice at least one thing that requires you to not be lazy, when it comes to doing a task that's going to require an immense amount of focus, discipline, and consistency, you're going to feel very uncomfortable taking that task on, especially if you haven't done something in recent times that has forced you to not be lazy. So the biggest key to overcoming laziness is to at least do one thing consistently every single day that you don't have to do, but you know will produce some sort of desired outcome. And as you continue to grow in this, you begin to take on more tasks until eventually that mindset takes over your brain and you're no longer a lazy person. Now, it's not to say that you won't have a day off here and there or that you won't get tired, but it's very critical that you continue with this mindset and you do things consistently. That's the thing that makes you a better person or a more disciplined person or a person who actually overcomes the laziness that you're experiencing. And then the final thing that I would say is that most people are lazy because they don't have any real passion in life for anything. They don't have any hobbies. They feel like maybe they're too self-conscious to have any hobbies, or maybe they're too old to have these childish hobbies or anything. But they don't really have anything that they're passionate about doing outside of what they have to do. And if you really want to overcome laziness, you should find some passion to do something that you actually want to do, but you're not required to do. And it's important that you're not required to do that thing because that's the only way that's going to train your brain to actually do something. But the lack of passion is what really allows laziness to seep in. If you don't have anything that you're passionate about, that you're excited to do, then you lose the excitement of life. You lose that feeling of waking up and having something to work towards or something to do. And once you lose that, it's incredibly difficult to incentivize yourself to do things that you need to do. So whatever that passion is or whatever that goal is, become passionate about a goal. Even if it's something that you don't want to do, become passionate about achieving a goal. And in the process of getting closer and closer towards that goal, you're going to increase your desire to actually do things and you're going to overcome the laziness that pervades many people's lives. So I hope this helps someone. Feel free to share with friends, drop a like, even subscribe, and I'll see you the next time. And until then, keep improving.